Public Service Pensions Fund, reaching you in all 10 provinces of Zambia. PSPF, keeping the pension promise.
The news.
Good afternoon. With the news, my name is Alan Mwale. The headlines. Government has launched the 2025 National Policy on Persons with Disabilities and mainstreaming guidelines with a reaffirmation to protect and promote the rights of persons with disabilities through a multifaceted approach. Copperbelt Minister Elisha Matambo has announced that Sino Metals, Leach and Rockjing investments will pay over 16 million kwacha in compensation to 507 farmers affected by the contamination of the Mwambashi and Kafue rivers in Chambishi. The Zambia Forestry and Forest Industries Corporation, Zafico, is set to enhance its timber processing operations with the installation of a state-of-the-art $5 million sawmill plant in Kalulushi, Copperbelt Province. And in sports, a COSAFA Cup winning goalkeeper Charles Kalumba says Zambia is working hard to rebound at this year's tournament, which will be held in South Africa. We have the news in detail shortly.
The news. 88.5 Sun FM.
And now the news in detail. Government has launched the 2025 National Policy on Persons with Disabilities and mainstreaming guidelines with a reaffirmation to protect and promote the rights of persons with disabilities through a multifaceted approach. Minister of Community Development and Social Services Doreen Mwamba has reiterated the government's commitment to ensuring that the policy addresses the plight of persons with disabilities, facilitating meaningful improvements in their lives and realizing their potentials and aspirations. Ms. Mwamba acknowledged that persons with disabilities face inequalities and limited access to basic services, employment opportunities, infrastructure and communication tools, and called upon ministries and agencies to ensure disability is factored into all programming and budgeting decisions. She observed that the disability mainstreaming guidelines will enhance inclusion and also provide a practical framework for dismantling structural and attitudinal barriers that isolate persons with disabilities. This was in a speech delivered on her behalf by Ministry Permanent Secretary Angela Kawandami, and speaking at the same event in a speech delivered on his behalf by Assistant Governance Representative Gregory Saili, United Nations Development Program UNDP Resident Representative James Wakiaga affirmed support for disability inclusive development through the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities and Sustainable Development Goals SDGs. He pledged UNDP's commitment to working with government to build a society that fully recognizes, respects, and realizes the rights of persons with disabilities across all levels of development and sectors. Meanwhile, Zambia Agency for Persons with Disabilities, ZAPID, Board Chairperson James Kapembwa appreciated the Zambian government's efforts in addressing disability issues and expressed confidence that the policy will empower and foster inclusivity among persons with disabilities. While Vice Chairperson of the Parliamentary Disability Caucus, Brenda Nyirenda, called for increased parliamentary representation by persons with disabilities to amplify their voices on matters that affect them. Copperbelt Minister Elisha Matambo Copperbelt Minister Elisha Matambo has announced that Sino Metals Leach Rogjing Investments will pay over 16 million kwacha in compensation to 507 farmers affected by the contamination of the Mwambashi and Kafue rivers in Chambishi. Speaking during a press briefing at the provincial administration in Ndola, Mr. Matambo stated that the affected farmers will be compensated based on the size of their farmland and the number of livestock lost. He further revealed that Sino Metals and Rongjing have been directed to compensate for soil degradation, as many farmers will be unable to plant crops in the upcoming farming season due to the contamination.
This calculation is for the loss which happened after the accident. For example, after the accident at Sino Metals this year. What about next year? Are they able to use these soils so that they can also plant their crops? The report which Zema gave us was that for the next planting season, it will be very tricky for farmers to use their fields because of the acidity which is still there. So, and Longzin, it is coming to 16,241,294.58.
Meanwhile, Minister of Mines and Minerals Development, Paul Kabuswe, emphasized that government took time to ensure a thorough assessment was conducted to capture all affected farmers.
There is something better, and that's why we want to make sure that we do the correct thing, we approve all of us, and then, allow the mining companies. As a matter of fact, the mining companies are also ready to pay. They are here. I'm sure you asked them. They want to pay like yesterday. They want to pay the compensations to our people. So we don't have a challenge with the farmers. We don't have a challenge with the mining companies that should pay the compensations. The monies are ready. The farmers are clear. The officials have done their part. It's on the part of now ministers to clear that. Then we move forward and allow that our people be paid. So really that is where we are in terms of compensating our people.
While Sino Metals Deputy CEO Sidney Chilea has assured all affected parties that the mine is prepared to begin payments once all documentation is finalized.
As soon as we get this report, without delay, we'll commence the payment to all the farmers that are in the report, the farmers that are affected. We've been ready from day one, and we've communicated this message to the farmers. We've communicated this message to government. Once we get the report officially, within the shortest possible time, we'll make sure we pay out all the farmers. We want to appreciate the farmers and all the stakeholders for the patience that they've exhibited thus far.
And farmers representative Mofat Simokonda has applauded the government and its agencies for their efforts in ensuring that all affected farmers are compensated and supported.
Kuikala kwesu kuliko takuli ukwa batina kufika hapo mulando wako bati tatwatala tupitamo muri situation yaso. So ifya kulia yes fya lionaika elo kabiri basino meto bali yeshako kutwafwa ye epo fyambila abali ingile okutwafwa bali ponena mu bwangu sana sana ba agriculture bali ponena mo bazema bali ponena mo bonse kulika kono buteko bali ponena mo bali twafwa sana kabiri tuli abasuminisha okutila ati ife twapitiremo na bena kabiri fyo bapendele fya chinka kabiri natutemwa tuli abasekelamo.
The Zambia Forestry and Forest Industries Corporation, ZAFICO, is set to enhance its timber processing operations with the installation of a state-of-the-art $5 million sawmill plant in Kalulushi, Copperbelt Province. The facility is expected to significantly boost production capacity, generating a substantial amount of sawmill timber annually. Here is a report.
A new sawmill plant at a cost of about $5 million is under construction in Kalulushi in Copperbelt Province. The sawmill plant is meant to enhance capacity, better the Zambia Forestry and Forest Industry Corporation ZAFICO products and value addition to the products. Touring the plant, which is about 80% done, was board chairperson Albert Ngandu.
The advantage of doing that is that when you sell sawn timber, then you increase the value of the timber, therefore you can fetch a higher amount of money for the timber that you are selling. And also it means that for this country then we have timber that is properly quality controlled before it hits the market. I don't know if you are familiar with Buseko. If you go to Buseko, you buy timber. Probably when you've put the timber into your house within the first year, you see that the wood begins to warp. But with the kinds of controls we will have in the production process here, it means that that will be a thing of the past, and the timber we produce will be good quality, and we expect that we should be able to produce sufficient timber to meet the needs of the entire country.
And ZAFICO Managing Director Mundia gave the scope of work.
Perhaps before the end of August, it would be fully operational. After that, we will then go into particle boards. We've already sourced an additional $10 million that will allow us to put up a particle board in the next 13 months. So after we've done that, we will then be confident that we are fully integrated wood processing company. So from planting a tree all the way to utilizing 90% or 95% of the tree.
Mr. Mundia says the company pays high premium to value addition, stating that it is one way of making the company thrive in the timber industry.
In terms of value addition, we started with the $3 million investment of the kiln as well as the additional creosote line in order to meet local demand. I can now confirm that we're able to meet local demand in full for pause, and we're even looking for regional market. In terms of the value addition with respect to additional value that we're expecting out of the wet mill that we have just put up, it's costing us about $5 million. It's coming out of Poland and the US.
Reporting for Sun FM Radio and TV, I'm Cletus Mutoki in Kalulushi.
We take a break and return with sports.
Public Service Pensions Fund, reaching you in all 10 provinces of Zambia. PSPF, keeping the pension promise.
In sports, COSAFA Cup winning goalkeeper Charles Kalumba says Zambia is working hard to rebound at this year's tournament, which will be held in South Africa. Speaking in an interview in Lusaka, Kalumba stated that he aims to lift another COSAFA trophy this year when the team heads to Bloemfontein for the regional championship.
Twayingirira mu kampu era turekita adapt na philosophy yaba coach leo kita kwa continue for the kita oro no potwambira kira file moneko turekita kantu potwaperere ile twareshita prepare chani neko twambire mpamo pele neti mutalichinishe sana chimotati pano no pepo baba kubombera group 2 kilipe bwino kuri kwele reshita prepare continue ko barete abana ne batea matins ya mutiyana bena anti ada matins turanda tima push over mabola ngira kwa sababu kule tuasha respect bora kabila potolea muktea twetu aya bombesha sana na maka ili sana hai I think na bakochi na bakwata sana na maedeka kusale team bantu boys bale pushinga na maka sana tapadule yanga.
Zambia is in Group D, where they will face Botswana and Comoros. The team will play Comoros in their opening Group D match on June 60th, followed by their final group match against Botswana on June 11. And that brings us to the end of this edition of the news. To end, we'll recap on the headlines. Government has launched the 2025 National Policy on Persons with Disabilities and mainstreaming guidelines with a reaffirmation to protect and promote the rights of persons with disabilities through a multifaceted approach. Copperbelt Minister Elisha Matambo has announced that Sinometal's Leach and Rongjing investment will pay over 16 million kwacha in compensation to 507 farmers affected by the contamination of the Mombashi and Kafue rivers in Chambishi. The Zambia Forestry and Forest Industries Corporation, Zafico, is set to enhance its timber processing operations with the installation of a state-of-the-art $5 million sawmill plant in Kalulushi, Copperbelt Province. And in sports, COSAFA Cup winning goalkeeper Charles Kalumbase Zambia is working hard to rebound at this year's tournament, which will be held in South Africa. That's where we end. My name is Alan Mwale. Do have a pleasant one and stay tuned to Sun FM TV.
The news, 88.5 Sun FM.